Hello everyone, welcome to Travel Tech using Canada. Today we have the second day of our masterclass with great names of the industry, with great companies. Before everything, yesterday was the International Women's Day, so awesome, happy day that passed through. I didn't have the timing yesterday to say that for everybody, so congratulations for all the women that make in the hotelier side. You represent more than 65% of the force of work. So thank you. And keep going. we need you. Of course we need you. Men without a woman, we are nothing, most of them. Okay? Okay, so concerning for all the people that is the first time they're joining us here, I just want to let you know, Travel Tech has been created last year. We are the major event worldwide with 5 events during the year. We start this year with US and Canada, the 8th of March. Then we're going to have Brazil, Portugal in May. We will have also in July, APAC, September, Latin and Spain. And we're going to end the year in November with EMEA. So here we try to get knowledge for all hoteliers and travel companies all over the world. This is a masterclass free of charge and also for all the hoteliers and all the people that have a presence here. And join us, you'll have an international certification and a resume about everything that has been discussed during each day of Travel Tech. So everybody, welcome. We're very happy to have all of you here with us. And just one thing more, Travel Tech have a new options concerning last year. Last year, we only focused on the Fórum and on the masterclass. This year, we have 2 new options. The first option that we have this year, you can go to traveltech.space, our website. You're gonna see if you are on our platform, you're gonna see that on the chat. And if you are on YouTube, you're gonna see on the YouTube chat, guys and ladies. So you can access there, and if you want to have a one-to-one presentation with the different companies that are our sponsors, okay, that I will tell all the sponsors at the end, because if you start now, it's too many companies. That's a good thing. That's a good thing. However, if you want to have the opportunity to have a one-to-one presentation or one-to-one call with the team of Hijiffy, with ReviewPro and all the other sponsors, you just go to traveltech.space and then you'll see tech companies. You click on tech companies, you have the virtual stand as a landing page with all information for all solutions each company can offer to you, and you have their own CRM. Travel Tech don't take your data, Travel Tech don't do nothing. All data you set on those CRMs goes directly to those companies. So welcome everybody, let's start this, and let's start with Paula Carreirão from Asksuite, the moderator that will be with myself today and will help us to make a great show. Paula, from now, it's all yours, lady. Go ahead.
Thank you, Vinicius, and welcome everybody. Hi, everyone. My name is Paula Carreirão. It's very hard to pronounce my last name, I know, very Portuguese. Only João maybe here and Vinicius can say it right.
100%.
Okay, well, I'm a content marketing specialist at Asksuite, a global hotel tech company. I've been working at Asksuite for the last 2.5 years now, and before that, I worked as a hotelier, actually. So I can feel your pain, hotelier that is watching us. I started as a front desk agent and at a hostel, and I went all the way up to general manager at a hotel boutique. So I also have a bachelor degree in psychology, which surely helped me during my crazy days as a hotelier, for sure, and also helps me now as a content creator. So basically my job today at Asksuite is to help plan content strategies and help market the team at Asksuite to help hoteliers around the world to face the challenges of the industry. So that means that I write articles on blog, I interview specialists, I host podcasts, webinar series. They are called Hotelcast. So please feel free to tune in sometime. And I really love what I do. So it's a pleasure to be here at Travel Tech for the 2nd year in a row. So thank you so much, Vinicius, Federico, and the entire Travel Tech team. And I'm looking forward to talking about AI in the hotel industry with this amazing experts in the panel. So again, thank you all there watching us for tuning in. And I think that's enough of me, I guess.
Okay, thank you, Paula, for everything. So I need to make a degree in psychologist, maybe. I'm too square, like I'm like a little bit German, like, oh, let's go, let's move forward. Sometimes as a programmer, for me it's base 1, 2, 3, and sometimes you need to understand. Also, when why we create this also, we create travel tech because we feel the pain. Well, I'm a person that used to work in travel tech with Neil James, who used to be my boss, used to. Right now, he's the COO of, it's a personal flame, and he still owe me a basketball match. He always loses. That's not true, but doesn't matter. And we create this because we saw that the problems that a hotel, maybe not the big chains, but let's talk about just a 1 minute about those chains, the familiar chains, or middle, small, and independent hotels. I figured out that doesn't matter if they're based on Germany, on Spain, on US, and Canada, Mexico, Brazil, Argentina, China, Australia, they all have the same structure issue. It's knowledge. Sometimes, and normally, hotels see us as, oh, this guy again. He wants to sell me something. Yes, normally we want to sell something, but most of sell something, we want to improve your operations, your marketing, your digital marketing strategies, your communication strategies, your direct and indirect sales strategies. That is why we create this. So feel free, welcome. One thing that's very important before Paula starts presenting all the people that we have here today with us is that if you are on our platform, you have a chat. Please send your questions on that chat. And when we finish the masterclass, we're going to have 15 minutes to request your experts to answer your questions. And if you are listening to us or watching us on YouTube, you can do that on the chat of YouTube. So at the end, we're going to answer your questions, not during the masterclass. Okay? Welcome everybody. Paula Carreirão, I mute myself, and all yours.
Thank you again, Vinicius. Yeah, so let's start introducing our special guest that you all can see already here on the screen. First, we have Neil James, CEO at ReviewPro. So welcome, Neil, and please introduce yourself to our audience.
Thank you, Paula. Yeah, so my name is Neil James. I'm the COO at ReviewPro. Like yourself, Paula, I've also been a hotelier. I started in housekeeping and worked my way up to general manager in the London Heathrow market before I then jumped over to Barcelona for some sea and sun and started moving into technology where I worked at Travel Click with Vinicius for some time and have now been at ReviewPro for 8.5 years. So it's great to be on. Do I talk a bit about ReviewPro now, or is that a bit
Yes.
Later? Yes. You can go now, I think.
Great. Yep. So
you have 3 minutes, Neil. Everybody has 3 minutes to introduce yourself and the company. Go ahead. Sorry.
Thank you. So at ReviewPro, we're the world leader in guest intelligence, and we have been for over 10 years. ReviewPro is part of the Hijiffy Group, which is a global organization which provides a complete suite of technology solutions for the hospitality industry to help hotels operate more efficiently, and covers everything from payments, distribution needs, operation platforms, and guest engagement solutions. At ReviewPro in the past decade, we've been dedicated to helping our clients help their clients to have a better guest experience. How exactly do we do this? Well, we do it by providing a powerful set of tools to collect guest feedback at various touch points throughout the guest journey, whether that is through guest reviews, surveys, whether they be post-stay or during stay, or guest messaging. And this is all managed from one central dashboard so that hoteliers can gain actionable insights into areas where operational and service improvements are needed. By using an AI-driven messaging platform, hoteliers can also automate guest communication, and this enables them to respond faster and more efficiently to queries or requests that come in from guests. These tools allow hoteliers to take quick action to fix problems, even while the guest is still on property. And in these extraordinary times, we're more focused than ever on helping create truly remarkable experiences for guests by understanding their evolving needs and providing the technological transformation needed to meet those needs. Thank you, Paula.
Well, thank you, Neil. I love your story, your background there. I'm all about stories as a content creator, so I love that. Next is João Freitas, Head of Business Development at Hijiffy. So, hi, João. Welcome, boas-vindas. Please introduce yourself to our audience.
Hello, Paula. Olá, oi. Depends on the way that we want to talk, right?
Yeah.
So it's always fun, by the way, because we both spoke Portuguese, but actually we are from super different countries in completely different continents. So it's always a great way of starting this wonderful conversation. So, well, introducing myself, I'm João Freitas. I'm Head of Business Development at Hijiffy. What I've been doing in the last couple of years, it's quite simple. I always worked within the technology sector, actually within startups. So personally, the thing that I really like to do is basically scale business and make it global. And at Hijiffy, when I joined, I saw that basically the hospitality sector was not super digital. And I feel that there was a huge opportunity in the market. So basically, in terms of what I've been doing in Hijiffy, I'm basically doing and managing all the sales around the globe. So it's always fun because my day, as probably Niall, Paula, Vinicius, Nicolas, and Scott, is all around the world. So sometimes we start working for Asia, sometimes work for the US. So it's always super fun. But well, in terms of what Hijiffy does, we are an all-in-one communication platform for hotels. So basically, we have two main products, what we call our chatbot pre-booking, which somehow helps hotels to increase their direct bookings, and of course, to help them to have a better interactions with guests before they arrive. And at the same time, we also have our virtual concierge that is literally concierge that is virtual. So basically what we try to do is to make sure that the journey of the guest is as better and customized as possible, take into consideration, of course, that even without the pandemic, everyone was moving forward to having more and more WhatsApp messaging, Facebook messaging, and all the apps within their stays. So basically at Hijiffy, we are giving a hand with that. And by the way, it's always great to be in a panel with Niall and Paula, because somehow, and this is really to say thank you, Vinicius, we are all competitors in a way, but it's the first time that I actually talk with both of you, and it's a pleasure to meet you both. Okay. And Paula, thank you.
Is that what we want to bring? We need to understand sometimes in the past, most of the competitors, Travel Tech was the unique, on the word that already said you, ReviewPro, competitors. We see all the biggest RMNs as Ideas, Atomize, Amadeus, and Libra Tech from Zucchetti, for example, together. We need to understand we can be competitors, but at the end, everything we want is the best solution, the best. We can have the best. We can be the best solution, but maybe for a hotel that have 25 rooms, you cannot pay for it, and you can have another solutions. That is the way. And we are not competitors. We all of us are colleagues. I'm so sorry to interrupt. It's normal. It's gonna happen a lot of times. Keep going. Keep going, Paula.
It's really a pleasure. I already talked with Vinicius several times, and actually our presence in Travel Tech was really because of it, because we believe that is the only way of making the sector much more digital. So really, thank you, Travel Tech, and it's a great pleasure for us to be here with you.
Well, thank you, João. Thank you for the kind words as well. And yes, you said it, and Vinicius said it. We have to. I think, especially now, we have to come together as a community, as an industry, because it's not easy out there for anyone. So thank you so much, João. Our next special guest is Nicolas Chavanes. I'm sorry if I say it wrong. Sorry, you can correct me. Nicolas, he is head of sales and partnership at Check-in. So hi, Nicolas, welcome. And please also talk a little bit about yourself and your company, please, to audience.
Yeah, hello, Paula. Thank you. And you say it right. It's international, so you can spell my name as you want. There's no problem. So I'm Nicolas. I'm head of sales and partnership at Check-in. It's been more than 10 years that I'm in the hospitality industry. I arrived in that industry a little bit by surprise, so I was not really going in that direction at the beginning. I was more going into the food and the drinks and the good things of the life, I would say. And I arrived in that hospitality industry, and I learned a lot in some big company like DH, Cloudbeds, and now I'm working for a smaller company that is growing very, very fast, and enjoying sharing those good moments with you guys. As I totally agree with you, is we need to be together, sending all those insights to the other people in the industry, because this is the only way for us to really make our industry better and stronger. So about check-in, it's a very simple tool, I would say, but with a lot of logic and automatization. So what we're doing is we're automatizing and digitalizing all the steps of the check-in process. So the idea is to really go deep in the digitalization around the guest data capture, identity validation, capture of the payment, the city tax, everything that is around the check-in, and ultimately is to provide the access. So the idea is really to build a tool with a logic that will only provide the access when all the requirements are covered. So yeah, we are in that piece of industry that I would love to share some insights around the AI in this panel today.
Well, thank you so much, Nicolas, and welcome again. And it's great to have you here. And next, last but not least at all, we also have here Scott Curran, CEO of Reneson Hotel. So welcome, Scott. And if you could please also introduce yourself to our audience and talk a little bit about yourself.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me here. Really appreciate it. This is a great panel, and I'm, on the hotel operations side, I'm excited to learn from everybody here as well. I am the COO of Reneson Hotels. So we are a Northern California-based hotel company. We have 7 hotels. 6 of them are branded. We have Hilton, we have Hijiffy, we have 2 Best Westerns. We're currently building 2 Marriott hotels, and we have an independent hotel as well. I have been in the hospitality industry for about 25 years. I started at the very, from the bottom up. I've waited tables. I have been a bellhop. I have been, worked at the front desk, moved my way all the way through being a front office manager into the sales department, was a director of sales, did revenue, moved into the general manager role for a while, and then ultimately ended up as COO. I love the hospitality industry. It was never really what I thought I was going to do, but once I started working in it, I knew it was the only thing that I was ever going to do. It's such a neat environment to meet people from all over the world, and just, really, present hospitality to all these people and make their vacations or their business trip something that they'll remember all their life. So yeah, that's what we're about at Reneson, and I'm excited to talk with everybody today.
Well, thank you so much, Scott. It's really nice to have the other side of the table and the conversation as well. I think it's a really great opportunity, and I really love your story as well in the hospitality industry. I have to say, I was not born for that. I have to admit, it just appeared in my life, and then I love it while I was doing it. But I kudos to all hoteliers, because it's not an easy life. So yeah. Okay.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, it's not an easy life at all. So I just remember all the public that is watching us. I have a few concerns about the audio, that you cannot listen very well on the platform. Right now, I already fixed it myself. So you have the voice loud and clear. So if anybody else have any kind of issue, please chat on the platform. I'm on top of everything. I'm doing moderation, doing technical, networking, all of it. So just remember, again, please, if you have questions, start setting those questions on the chat and on your YouTube. And when we finish, we're gonna move forward for the questions. Right now, we're gonna start straight away. Don't lose time, as we have a very limited timing to accomplish our masterclass. So Paula, Carreirão, is up to you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Okay, so let's get down to business and start talking about artificial intelligence. So a lot has been said about artificial intelligence in the hotel industry, of course, and AI is still a mysterious thing for many hoteliers out there in terms of what they can do and what they can benefit from. So I think it's great to start with you, Scott. But the first question, where do you see AI being used to help hotels run their operations?
Yeah, I mean, currently it seems to be, to me, on the hotel side, that we're just at the very beginning of it. I remember the first time I had heard from somebody kind of talking about some AI things, whether that was through text messaging or something, and I kind of looked and went, how are we going to do that, right? And so, going from that early stage to now seeing that, especially during the pandemic, where we went to communicating with guests in a different way, right? Instead of everybody coming to the front desk, you wanted them to communicate with you through text messaging. And to my understanding, in the hotel operations side, we're still really early in on this. A lot of hotels haven't, adopted a lot of AI things. So, in my role as COO, we've really, tried to look at what ways we can use artificial intelligence to help us operate the hotels. And what ways we're still maybe not ready to get there at certain times, right? So I think you have to find a real good balance of, the technologies, because customer service is the utmost importance to us, right? The guests will, only come back to your hotel if they have a great experience. And so there's a lot of times where I think that AI can be really helpful in that experience. And there's times where I think that it still maybe is working its way through it. I mean, currently in the hotel environment that we use it in two different places. We use it for our operations, and we use it mainly for, helping us set rates and things. I think that was the first area that we had really gotten into. And when I look at the rate side of things, the rates were really, it kind of gave you some parameters that you would fall between. Hilton's a great example. They use a product called Ideas, and you would set in some, targeted rates, right? So anywhere from 100 to 200, and you would set them in $10 increments, and the system could kind of float anywhere in between those, but you really still had to know enough about the market to set where that 100 and 200 fell, right? And so the system wasn't smart enough to tell you that you should put in 100 or 200. So it was a neat use of AI, but it still wasn't all the way to that point. I kind of think of it as, like autopilot for a plane, right? I mean, the plane probably flies itself after takeoff and that, but there's still somebody there just in case things go wrong. But as you're seeing that, that was, maybe 5-6 years ago that it got started, it keeps getting better and better with time. I mean, the more data that it's able to pull in, the better that it gets. And so, it's able to make some of those decisions a little bit better. On the hotel operations side, we use it daily to help us when guests are looking for communicating to us through text, to help move those communications to the departments that they need to be in. So they're used through work orders. When somebody has something broken in the room, the light bulb is out, they request some towels, it can automatically kind of pick up on some of those things and move that to to the party that's responsible to take care of that. So we've seen that be really successful. We haven't quite yet got into the communications with guests directly through AI, but that's really where we're using it now. And again, it seems to be very successful, I think, in helping us operate to help get better reviews, like Neil said earlier, and that's really important to our business.
I'm so sorry. I want to make a point here. Thank you. I totally agree with Scott just said. I'm so sorry. I have a helicopter here, so I'm still locked down, totally locked down. So if you see a helicopter, it's not somebody that will take me. It's not SWAT. Okay, don't worry about it, guys. So I'm sorry. I love to make a little bit jokes. Like this is not something really square. It's a round circle here. So DEI, of course, is it's both important today, and we have a lot of different platforms, and we have different platforms that have different kind of segments to use DEI. We have ReviewPros that use DEI in different ways, on the chat, on the reviews. Then we have Hijiffy specialized on only the chat, as Asksuite, for example. Then we have Nicolas Chavanes that has an AI for the web check-in. Is the biggest company for web check-in all over the world, presence with more than 76 countries. for example. And also, that's a good saying. If you go to a hotel and you're a criminal, be worried. If you use check-in, you go directly to Interpol. I'm joking, guys. But yeah, they have security connection. I make this a joke, but this is very important. Maybe you're receiving some gas that you look and said, oh, it's awesome guy. When you put it, his platform send automatically with AI, check Interpol and advise the Interpol and you as a hotelier. So AI is indispensable anymore. However, the human touch cannot be replaced at all, in my opinion. And I finish. I let the others, if somebody wants to make a point here, let's go in fast, please.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're right on there. I mean, I think that's the most important part, right? I mean, the guests still expect a human touch to some of these things. The customer service still needs to be of the most importance to their stay, and that's what's really going to drive people to come back, spend more money with you, and you know, moving forward. And so, I think there needs to be, you know, kind of real thought out plan to how you use AI in your hotels.
I also think that, you know, one of the key things to think about here is that AI is not here to replace people, right? It's here to help people. It's here to help people within the mundane tasks that are there, and actually to provide a better guest service. And this is a key thing, you know, it's how can you do the 80-20 rule? How can you make sure that all of that stuff that can be automated is automated, that the repeated requests that are coming in are being dealt with by AI, and then the people that are actually there to deal with guest queries are actually doing that, right? They're using the emotions, they're doing the eye contact, they're helping guests, they're welcoming them, rather than having their head down looking at a screen for 8 hours a day and not breaking a smile because there's long queues in front of them. AI can deal with those queues, and that's how we need to be helping.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I agree, Neil, that it's not going to take out job. I think it's going to create job somewhere else in the industry.
Absolutely.
Like the rise of new solution.
And even the salaries have a lot of potential to increase, because if you don't like do things that could be automatically done, your time values much more, right? So it's just outside that. I totally agree. Your expression, I always use it every day. That is, don't have people in the front office looking to the screen. Doesn't make any sense. I always use that expression.
I've been there, done that.
At Reneson hotels, we have a 10-foot rule, right? So anybody that enters the hotel and is anywhere within 10 feet of you, your head should be up and addressing that person, right? So whether that's the mailman delivering the daily mail, or whoever that is that comes into the hotels, I mean, that's such a big deal to be able to just, you know, greet everybody with a smile and recognize everybody that's coming into the hotel.
For sure. So guys, let's move to the next question. Let's talk about a little bit experience, and not only experience, communication. As we all professionals, as you are and myself and everybody here, we know that before COVID, during COVID, and after COVID, a lot of things will change. But however, on the before side is more important. A lot of hoteliers didn't really look to communication and experience to have this on their mind. Right now they have this. And the question goes to Neil James, the CEO at ReviewPro. So I'll repeat the question 2 times, like this the public can understand. So Neil, talking about experiences, communications, how can AI help create more personalized experience? I will repeat the question. How AI help create more personalized experience? 5 minutes, all yours, my friend.
Great, thank you, Vinny. So yeah, I think, you know, we have to think about the fact that, as we just mentioned, AI is there to be able to help us do things better, right? And to make sure that we can better connect with our guests. And there's various ways of doing this across multiple channels. For example, being able to send a post-day or an in-stay survey, not just by email, but by SMS, by WhatsApp, by any of the channels that you can. And making sure that those surveys are also tailored to the guest, right? Not giving them a huge audit as to each step of that guest journey, but actually understanding specific things about that guest and asking them how was their booking experience, because you know that guest booked directly on their website. And how do they feel about the loyalty experience, because you know, based on data that's been fed in, that they are the gold member of the loyalty scheme. And it's important that we start using this data in an automated way and make it intelligent so that the guest feels that we understand who they are, right? We've always said in the hospitality industry, don't treat the guest like another number. You need to make sure that you're treating them as somebody that you really know. And, you know, we have ways these days with technology to be able to create cascades. You know, you try to send them a survey by email. There's no email in our database. Okay, so let's try it via SMS, because we do actually have that field. So let's make sure that the technology is being used in order to be able to get more results, more data about our guests, more information about the experience that we're providing to them. And then on our side, from a hotelier perspective, having the ability then to be able to turn around that guest experience based on the data that's there. You know, having all, like, we talk about AI as this new thing, but as you mentioned earlier, Vinny, we at ReviewPro have been using AI for 10 years in our sentiment analysis, in our algorithm of our GRI. There's various things that we've been doing.
Long time already.
Exactly. So, and where it's evolved to is absolutely phenomenal, but it'll continue to do so, right? And we need to make sure that we can create metrics to understand exactly within that AI what is working, what can we do to impact that guest experience, because at the end, that's what it's about. People want to go away to be able to travel, to enjoy. And as this AI continues to evolve, you know, we've got the ability to be able to segment outbound communication. We all know right now, I was listening to a podcast the other day that was stating that, you know, in Brazil, for example, there is so much tourism, it's local tourism, and people are traveling. Well, in that case, you want to be able to send an outbound communication to those guests that are in that particular region and say, hey, during the week, because our hotels all of a sudden are empty during the week and not weekend, here are the special offers to bring you into our hotel. This is what you can do in our restaurant, in our spa, etc. And being able to, again, communicate to those guests through an SMS, through an email, through a WhatsApp, the ability to really understand who those guests are, what we can offer them, right? Also take into account that in-stay is really key. Yeah, so over the past years, the feedback has changed from being a post-stay event to getting this in-stay communication, right? So you want to be able to make sure that you can communicate with those guests while they're on property. Even now more than ever, they're going to be using one of these in order to communicate, because they don't want to come down to reception to ask what time is breakfast being served. We need to get in front of that and be able to communicate that to them, right? So this is really, really important to be able to make sure that we can use that data and then bring that data back into our CRM, right? So how do we integrate that data based on what those guests have asked us, the key preferences that they've noted through their conversations? How can we use that data in the future to make them more loyal to us, right? And create a profile around that guest based on the fact that 3 times they've asked us for a specific type of pillow when they've stayed with us. They always like to go to a restaurant on a Saturday night with their family. So what can we do with this data in order to be able to make sure that we personalize their experience? Again, we tell them that we know what it is that they like about our particular property and about the way that they want to interact. And I think the key thing here is when we were talking about efficiency earlier, it then always comes down to how can we also make sure that the guests that really need service are getting the service. If you think about a queue at reception prior to COVID, the majority of those queues, maybe 50, 60%, were to ask queries about where's the swimming pool, what time is the restaurant open, how do I get extra towels? All of this can be dealt with by chatbots, right? These are repetitive queries that get asked by different guests, but to the same staff members day in, day out. So how can we put that into a chatbot and make sure that those queries reduce the amount of people coming to reception, and those people that come to reception, to the restaurant, etc., get a great service because they're actually being dealt with by people who are not worried about the queue of 60 people in front of them, because the majority of those now are getting their questions answered either from the bar while they're looking at their phone, or from the pool side, or even while they're out in the taxi on their way to the hotel, and they're trying to find the information about the property to be able to check in. Yeah, so these are the ways that you can really personalize that so that the guest feels looked after from the start to the end.
So I want to make a point on just Neil said. Thank you, Neil. Awesome. Neil, just for the hoteliers to understand even better the communication from Neil, when we talk about not that we can have outside. So, for example, for yourself, normally 90%, 95% are risk to sell. Hoteliers have no idea how to sell or how the pricing they need to sell. Don't be angry with me, Scott. I'm not telling that it's you. Okay?
I'm in that 5%.
I'm not telling you that. Okay? But this is the big point here. For example, those chat box, or even your PMS, or even your booking engine, or you can understand when you do digital marketing, you need to understand normally what a hotel does. Straight strategy, standard price, great. Then I said straight discounts all over. It's wrong. You don't have Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, partners, events, Marriott, and a lot of other things. Those means there are segments. So before you book something, you need to understand for each part of the market, your guest, it's coming to your hotel. Without the technology, as Neil told you guys, you don't have it. Or you need to use minimum a tag from Google and help that the tag from Google is correctly built and you have this information. That is one point. The second point, you never know, you can see the PMS, I know how much it expends. What Neil just said is that inside of your hotel, having this, you can be in the swimming pool, you don't need calls, you don't need receptionists losing time doing the receptionist part of the thing and then connect you to the restaurant. You don't need that anymore. You have a chat for the front before the guest comes to your hotel, and then you have a communication inside. If that communication will improve your sales inside of your hotel. Without such technology, you're still working like 10, 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. But so this is something very awesome. And the most important thing, you're going to be able to understand for each person that passed through your hotel, what they request, what they pay for it. And then you can build like a, not a VIP list, by difference, this is my hotel, this is my client that don't spend. This is a middle client spend. This is a higher spend, and this is a VIP. Then you have your fidelization guest with the tools that Neil told you guys. I'm sorry, I will need all of I'm also expert. I'm working in this industry for 16 years, and I'm a developer at the same time, so sorry. So now I leave kind of like somebody wants to say something, go ahead. If not, we move to the next question. Sorry to interrupt you, Neil. I just want you to help.
No problem. I just think there's one point which I think is important for us to bear in mind when it comes to AI as well, is that, you know, as we hope to see markets starting to reopen over the next months, you know, one of the key things is that pickup is going to be slower, right? It's going to be a scenario where we won't have the full team available to deal with everything. So this is the time to implement that technology, right? Make sure that technology can help to deal with some of those things so that, you know, the smaller teams that we've got initially until occupancy picks up for a consistent period, that technology can help us, because, you know, we're all speaking to hoteliers. Those hoteliers are doing multiple jobs today. They're not just doing reception. They're not just doing the restaurant. They're doing multiple jobs. So the technology here can really help to kind of do some of that work for them.
Thank you, Neil. Paula, it's up to you now. Anybody else? Nicolas, Scott, João, want to make a picture? No, we'll move forward with the questions. And if I keep talking, we're going to finish this 5 o'clock, and I can't. I have a pitching to manage. But remember, I talk too much, but I'm talk really specific things that any opinion I provide here is based on experience. I always want to improve the knowledge of the hotel, so and the travel side of the industry. So be happy that we have this, and we have created this. Because normally, this doesn't happen. And what we had is totally different. Here is knowledge, and here you will learn. Thank you very much. Paula, it's up to you. Thank you very much, everybody. I shut my mouth.
All right. I think just a really short comment. Vinicius, don't hate me for about what Neil just said. Is that not only AI personalized experience, of course, and enhanced experience, but also creates opportunities of more revenue. If you know that the person used your restaurant, use in your favor. So just wanted to say that marketing sales should work more together and create more revenue opportunities, especially now because we don't have many out there, so we have to get the best of it. So just wanted to say that before moving to the next question, that is to Nicolas from Check-in. We were already talking about automation and the use of AI, and it seemed to become more and more important for properties to improve their operations, like the other experts were talking about before. Especially, Nicolas, if you think about our current scenario, where a lot of hotels unfortunately have to downsize and have to operate with fewer human resources. So, Nicolas, the question is it possible to guest communication to be automatized based on AI logic without impacting the guest experience? And I'm going to read it again, just so everybody understands the question. Is it possible to guest communication to be automatized based on AI logic without impacting the guest experience, which I think is one of the biggest fears of hoteliers? So go ahead, Nicolas. Thank you.
Thanks, Paula. So, yeah, I think it's possible, but I think we already discussed that just before. I think we really need to have a combination between human and machine to really reduce all those actions that humans do not need to be involved and spend time on that. And for example, on our side, we have automatized some guest data capture that it's, I would say, a really waste of time for the front desk people to spend time on that. And when you arrive in the property, you don't want to be in front of someone that is just like a data capture people. So you want a little bit of the human side, and you want a kind of tailor-made attention to the guests. So I think it's really possible, but we really need to always be careful on the limitation that technology can provide to us. I feel horrible when I send a message to someone and I know that this is a bot that answers me something that has never, there's nothing to do with that. I'm asking for a toll and they ask me if I want a cab. Sometimes, we really need to be careful. And I think that it can raise some frustration. So we need to always have human to have some kind of control and monitoring. We know that AI is learning from past experiences or past requests. So that means that I think we are a little bit at the beginning. I'm talking about guest communication, not about yield and so on. But about guest communication, I think that it will always grow and improve with the current setup. Also, I think what is very important and we have to take in consideration is we haven't create anything new. We have based our model on something that was already existing on other sector, the flight has started the online check-in on the late 90s. So at the end, I think we always need to rebuild and restructure our industry based on other industries that can teach us some better use case. But to come back on the question, I think it's possible, but always keeping in mind that the guests need to be always in the center of the attention, because this is where you will get them back into your property. So I think it's possible, but by monitoring and getting the right interaction between your solution together also.
Great, Nicolas. I think I have to say here, guilt as charged. As a hotelier, yes, I look down many times because, just being here a lawyer for all the hoteliers, it is not easy to have to multitask sometimes, and you have such a small staff. So yeah, so I think all of us agree here that we are not saying to automatize everything. It is to find the right mix, like you're saying, Nicolas. So I think that it's a great point. I don't know if anyone wants to, you, Nicolas, want to continue, or anyone else wants to add?
Yeah, I mean, I can add to that a little bit. I mean, I think that what it does for hotels. So we use a messaging product at Reneson. And I think what it does for the hotel staff, again, we've all had to adapt through COVID to working with, doing more with less, right? And so, when you have front desk agents that are sometimes even taking reservations over the phone, they have people coming to check in, then you have all these questions, right? When you have a text messenger, that's in front of you, that guest, again, is not standing in a line. They don't have to come all the way down to the lobby. It gives you a little bit of time as well, right? So you can kind of think through what you're doing, or you can even respond back to them with, hey, I'm really busy right this second. I can get right back to you, right? And then at least the guest feels acknowledged. They don't have to wait in the line. They're going about their day. As I think it was referenced earlier, they could be sitting by the pool or having a drink at the bar. Again, they're enjoying themselves instead of standing in a big long line to ask one question. So I really think in ways it makes the front desk job a lot easier, because they can kind of respond in their own time instead of having that person. Because I've worked from the bottom all the way up. You can feel the pressure of having a line around the corner here. And so then you're trying to hustle through everything that's going on, and, maybe not providing that service. Exactly. So, yep, absolutely. I think it just allows, again, for you to have an open communication. And people also feel, maybe we talk about this later, but people feel a lot more comfortable telling you things over text than they would to come stand in line and tell you as well, right? So you're able to find out a lot more about your hotels. And again, it gives you an opportunity to go ahead and fix whatever that issue might be before that person leaves, and again, keep them coming back.
Yeah. I think that's an interesting point, Scott, because I always remember a stay that I had when I was in Thailand, and I actually I was struggling with the jet lag, and I wanted to actually ask for some items because my minibar hadn't been replenished. It was 3 o'clock in the morning. Now, obviously, I wasn't going to go down to reception and say, hey, can somebody replenish my minibar? But if I would have been able to send a message, and maybe somebody would have said, hey, I can't do it till 6 a.m., I would have said, okay, that's fine. And I would have had that confidence, right? And I think that's one of the things, is that what you say is 100% on the money. It's like people feel more confident about asking things because at least, they're not putting their face in front of somebody, or they don't have to change out of their pajamas into clothes to go and ask for it, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've had...
Yeah, I was just saying, add on top of what Nel was saying, like last week I was in the hotel, and like 5-10 minutes after I entered in the room, I had the receptionist calling me. And I was like, oh, sorry, everything is okay? And she goes, no, everything is okay. It's just to understand if you are okay, if the room is also as it was supposed to be. And I was like, yes, like I just enter now. I don't know what to say because it's too much, right? Yeah. You are not expecting that. Actually, I never saw the phone ringing in auto. It was the first time, and I passed all my during the year. I passed a lot of times outside of my home, and I was like, why this is ringing? Like, does it make sense? It's personal, right? I was scary at some point.
Somebody's calling me 3 o'clock in the morning. What happens?
Exactly.
Okay, João, you're making me feel really old now.
Why?
We are getting old, Neil. We are getting old. We are getting old.
I remember those phones ringing, and I remember doing those calls. But you're absolutely right. These days, it's something that's not required because the technology is there.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm not used to that. It's too personal.
The message is, hoteliers, you need really solutions. Forget about Excel. Forget about phones. Let's make it more, because we need to understand hoteliers. Doesn't matter if it's a corporate, leisure, or leisure corporate. All of us. I worked for just 1 year in one hotel. That's the only experience I have in my life with a hotelier. The other side's all technology. But everything we do is an experience, because we need to understand right now we sell experience. If it's a corporate experience, we need to adapt our hotel to provide a corporate experience. It's just leisure, it's for leisure. And if the both, you need to find yourself and do the mix, man.
Yep.
Man, doesn't matter, you need to do it.
But at the end, Vinicius, I think that the property also give his image and his brand, and they also want to provide, like, we see some Japanese capsule hotel that are totally like 100% automatized, and you have no one and so on, and this is sometimes like some people want that experience. So at the end, like the property itself need to find a little bit is, I would say, is combination on the image and the positionment that they want to do. So sorry to interrupt, Vinicius, but
no, I mean,
I'm the guy that I'm in the pain here. I don't say the other word because we're live. I'm in the pain game, you know. Don't worry. I'm the only one that bother here. Anybody else want to put some point?
I was just.
Yes.
I was just going to say, I think Nicolas is absolutely right. I mentioned earlier that I believe that it's kind of like autopilot on a plane, right? I mean, there's that data can come through, but it's really going to, as a hotelier, you need to kind of decide, where it's appropriate and where it's not, right? And when you're talking about those guests, there's some guests that want all of that, the demographic maybe younger that wants all of this and understands all of it. And then there's another one that understands zero of it, right? And wants zero and wants to come to the front desk and do those things. And so you have to be prepared to be, to meet both of those people where they are. So again, I think the technology is amazing and will provide, great things for hotels. I think the hotels just have to understand where to use it and where maybe not to.
But I think it's just Scott, that it have to be also not only with the technology itself, it's good or bad, but your own operation where you have the gap, right? So 100%. I think that's one thing also to just consider. Yeah, sorry.
Vinicius, and I think the data that you pull in there will help you understand how they're using it and how they're not, right? Exactly. And then as a manager, make that, kind of see that from an upper view and be able to make those decisions.
Yeah, and that's one of the key things as well, right? Is getting the guest feedback around the technology that you're implementing. 100%. So if you are implementing new technology, you need to make sure that you're asking the question: how do they feel about that technology?
Yeah.
Sure.
Do they want to use that technology? Because we might be forcing our guests to use a technology that actually it's not something that they're comfortable with.
100%.
I will do just a last point before any hotel try to change the solution. This is a message for C levels and D levels for hoteliers. Before you do that, make sure the people that manage that on daily basis is not you, D-level director, or C-level, are not you. It's your administration, it's your management. So be sure that your management is really using everything, the solution it's providing you. I'm not telling you to not trust on your employees. I'm not telling that. I just turn around, make questions, and speak with your tech company, and then find a solution. If then you see that you're not happy with the solution that you have, but before you change, I just trying to maybe it's not I'm a salesperson for technology again, so I'm not maybe the right person to tell you that. But to be very transparent. We need to do that. It's an exercise for 1 week before taking a decision. Understand if your team knows what they're doing. Because most hotels, your management have no idea what they're doing. Maybe it's because they don't pay attention. Maybe it's because the company don't provide the correct support. So before changing, communicate before. That's all the only thing. I just hope that nobody here kills me. But, I already said.
I think you're right. I mean, if you're, myself as a C-level, as you said there, if I say, hey, we're going to use this tomorrow and just hand it to them and don't really get their buy-in on it, none of it's going to work, right? I mean, we've all done that with software and it just doesn't work. And so I think, you need buy-in from not only the management level, but the staff level as well, right? And so I think it's important that they understand why you're trying to do, what this is trying to solve, how it makes their job easier. Not just that we're trying to, if you look at, maybe the front desk level, they're thinking, oh boy, am I getting replaced, right? And so, they need to understand that this isn't a replacement for them. It's something to make their job easier.
I guess
but Scott,
yes, so go ahead.
Scott, just to adding on top of that, I don't know what all of us, in this case, all of you felt when the pandemic started. But one of the things that I felt personally, and I'm doing sales all the day, typically, is that I started to talk with the C-level for the first time. Like, since the day zero. So basically, all the acceleration of like the implementation of the technology was faster, because basically the problem was like we had C-level people that never was never understanding what AI was doing, not for the surveys, for the chatbots, for the check-ins, wherever it was. Because basically, it's of course difficult for any person in the front office or even the general managers to explain to the admin or to the C-level of the company like what all of us do. It's not that easy. So I saw personally in my company that like there was a huge implementation of our technology due to the fact of, so for the first time, we had C-level with time to hear us and to understand and to build the guest journey, which is fundamental right now. No one was building a guest journey, as you were all of us saying, like they were buying one product and the other and the other and the other and not matching everything. And at the end of the day, they were like the guests were receiving emails, SMS, WhatsApp, plus surveys from Booking and Expedia, and all of this at the same time. So it was a mess. So I would say that the most important part from the pandemic in terms of these AI technologies was like everyone from the C-level and the D-level for the first time to hear all of us, which was wonderful and great, because everyone started to think about how would be the perfect guest journey, which I feel that is always the most difficult part for you, Scott, to define, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think a little bit of that came from, at least in my experience, as I mentioned, we run several different brands. And so a lot of the times the brands dictated what we could use and what we couldn't. And so on a C-level, we were walking around and saying, okay, you know, this Hilton uses this product, this IHG uses this product, and Best Western does this, and how do I do this? And so on my focus, right, you know, during this pandemic was to say, I just want to use one product. I want to understand it. I want to be able to really kind of communicate to those managers, and then, you know, down to the front desk level and even the housekeeping and work orders, right? Yeah, and maintenance. Okay, we're going to use this one product and we can focus on this because, you know, like you said, it's when you have seven, I mean, I think at one point for text messaging, we had 7 hotels and 4 or 5 different products that we were using for text messaging. Wow. And there's just no way that you can get to that operationally. So I do see the brands being a little bit more lenient during this time. And I hope that that will kind of continue on to allow us as franchisees to be able to, you know, kind of go with the product that we believe would be best for us.
Awesome. Right. Before I go to the question to João, I will profit the hook. So travel tech is knowledge, but travel tech, as I said in the beginning, we said travel tech companies. So why we did this? Because right now we know that most of hoteliers don't have the money to go to ETB. And if they want to go to ETB or any other Tour, WTM, they need to pay to do that. We are providing travel tech 100% free masterclass, 100% in free travel tech companies where you can engage the different departments without the move from your desk or from your hotel to check. If you want to check a PMS, if you want to check a review chatbots, you can go to traveltech.space, then travel tech companies. And there you can try to hook a time with your engager team. And during the entire year, you have this adventure with us, and we're the unique in the world offering this. And from in US and Canada, we didn't have the time, but starting Brazil, Portugal, APAC, EMEA, and Latin Spain, we're going to have also a 3D virtual fair where hoteliers will like a game. You're gonna interact as you was in a ground fair. So enjoy it. We're the only one do this for free. We don't charge hoteliers at all. Who pays here is a sponsor. That is why they're here. And if you want to be a sponsor, come talk to us. So I go to the question from. I need to use that hook, guys. Don't be angry with me. So let's go. We are talking about a lot of experience right now. A lot of them. We took a lot of different points. However, now we have a great question to João Freitas, head of business development at Hijiffy worldwide. So, João, how will be AI chatbots and guest communications platforms change the hotels? I will repeat the question. How will be AI chatbots and guest communications platforms change the hotels? From now and the future, all yours.
Yeah, somehow I already kicked off the situation. It is, I would say that we need to split the chatbots into the guest journey as we always do in marketing, right? So basically, I would say that we have what is called the pre-booking or the consideration, wherever it is the name that you want to call it. We have all the during stay phase, if we want to keep it simple, and we have the post-stay. So I would say that right now, and all of us in the beginning, Niall, Paula, and us, what we have been focused before the pandemic, or at least 1 year before the pandemic, was all about the pre-booking phase. Was the easier and the most important part at that time. Everyone was focused on the direct bookings, and of course, for having direct bookings, hotels needed to have tools to make sure that could happen. And of course, in that way, chatbot were changing a lot the way that the hospitality sector was working on, because, well, no one can scale emails, no one can scale phone calls. It's impossible. Like, impossible meaning, at least for now, it's not something that we can do. I would not say that it's impossible forever, because there are no impossible, but for now, it's not possible. So what happens is that we need to try to change the mindset from the guests for where they are and where they are currently in all the messaging apps. Like, if we are seeing all the apps that were more downloaded in 2020 were all about the social media. Actually, TikTok, the amazing TikTok, was the one that was more downloaded. But, well, forgetting that all of us use WhatsApp, use Facebook, at least here in Canada, US, in Europe too. Not that much probably in Asia. But the thing is that everyone is in these channels, and the apps are amazing. But for having brands, we need to have really like branded hotels, which is not easy at all. Like, imagine if you have a hotel within 10 and it's just a small chain. Of course, you cannot like keep the loyalty in all the cities, because you don't have hotels in all the cities to talk, right? So these chatbots for the pre-booking were super important, because we're putting the client talking in an informal way with the hotel, which was, of course, fundamental. And adding on top of that, I would say that the chatbot pass should be more and more taking out the typical decision tree. A decision tree is basically when you click and click and click, and much more about having a conversation. And that part of the conversation is the key for now and for the future. So basically, what I want to make sure is that if I have a hotel that is from a resort or 5-star, and if I have a 3-star or a bed and breakfast or a hostel, all of them should have different replies. And when I say different replies, I say different kind of replies. I tend to say that I have clients that have amazing ideas. They give personas, they put a lot of emojis, a lot of energies. But I also have clients that are super traditional, and makes sense not to be like adding emojis and a lot of energy, because, well, would be strange somehow. So in terms of the pre-booking, I would say that, of course, we'll be more and more able to automatize, but somehow we don't take out people, because what we want to make sure is that we collect qualified leads for the reservations team to work on and to be able, well, to sell, because it's what we are trying to do with our e-commerce within our website, right? For the during stay, there are a lot of possibilities. Everyone right now is within WhatsApp. So what we need to do is to make sure that our bots within WhatsApp are easier to work and are working. I would say that is a challenge for all of us, right? Paula and also Neil, because, well, Facebook company is not helping us a lot in that field. It's being hard. But it's really fundamental to be able, much more than be just reactive, to be proactive in the way. So basically, we want to make sure that clients, as Neil was saying, receive an SMS, but also, of course, a WhatsApp message, exactly calling for the name and asking, of course, for the proper upselling or cross-selling. So I tend to say that sending to the perfect hour and in the perfect day is always the most important part. But even here, again, it's really fundamental to make sure that, again, a resort 5-star is treated in a different way from someone that has just a 3-star hotel within a city. So even for that, it's fundamental to make sure that, well, for example, if I enter today in the hotel, it's strange to receive a message 5 minutes after I enter in the room, but it's not strange if I enter at 3 and at 6 I receive a proposal for going to the bar. So or to just see the menu, like not pushing too much. It's just to make sure that we have that kind of offers. I always say the same history. A couple of weeks ago, I went with my girlfriend for a hotel. Actually, it was in Portugal because everyone is close in Europe, and basically when I arrived there, we are all knowledge. So basically, the GM was talking with me, amazing, wonderful, and they had an inside pool. Amazing, like was raining. It's not normal in Portugal. So basically, we were going there, and somehow my girlfriend said, "Oh, João, would be amazing if we would go to the spa or for massage treatment, because like will be amazing. We don't have a lot of things to do here." And I was like, "Yeah, but I don't know if the hotel has." And somehow I was in the first floor, so I was not in the elevator. I didn't see any kind of information because there were no information at all during all my stay, 2 days. And when I was leaving, I was like with the baggage, and I was like, "Oh, let's go in the elevator. I'm not interested in just go downstairs." And when I entered in the elevator, was a promotion there saying you have 50% off this weekend. And I was like, come on, how is this possible? And like, how you don't have this kind of information available for every guest? I'm not like there is no need to go in an elevator with a hotel like with 50% of occupancy. Like, doesn't make any sense. So all the stay should be more and more smart, and of course, chatbot can give a help on that. And adding on top of that, I'll say that we have also the post stay, and within the post stay we have the online reputation, which is amazing and wonderful. And as Neil was saying, I tend to totally agree that doesn't make sense nowadays to receive like a survey with a lot of questions and that are not going online, because like there are always 2 types of clients: the ones that love us and the ones that actually, I will not say hate us, but well, are not loving us. So the ones that are not loving us typically will talk not super well about us. So what we need to make sure is that people, when they are not happy, we can control within the stay, and all the others, well, all the feedback should go to the proper channels, the online channels. So I would say that the chatbots should split in these 3 main stage of the journey. And for now and for the future, I would say that as smarter they are, as more source of information they can, somehow have, better. And of course, for the management, to provide more and more data about.
Oh, we lose you. He back.
Sorry?
We lose you.
I'm back.
We lose you. You come back.
Amazing. Well, hello, I'm here. So I was saying that is fundamental even for the management to have more and more metrics about how many bookings are you collecting, what are the key topics, what are the key upsellings that you are doing, how many messages from the percentage of the user are being sent, how many people of the hotel is literally using it, because these are all questions that right now they don't have exactly answers. I tend to say that when they meaning hoteliers, implemented in the past the paper, the problem is that the paper is not possible to count, but the message within the chatbot are totally 100% accountable. So I would say that for the now and for after the pandemic will be for sure the path of the chatbots.
Awesome, João. Thank you very much. I just will make a point on a few things that you said. I understood that it's awesome. It's concerning first. I'm a little bit anxious person. I love to sell, and I always push the hotels to sell. And what do I do? And what my company does works. However, when you said that when they walk around and the hotel, just the program, after 3 hours, push them. That is key. We cannot. The guy just come, the yacht says, hey, buy me a champagne. Hey, you can go doing scuba diving with us. No, that is a good point. But why I'm saying this, because normally who manage those configurations are not the D level, the C level, V level person that sells, or the H level person that sells on the platform. Will be the account manager. And maybe the hoteliers will request, hey, put me that in 15 minutes after. And sometimes even us, technological companies, we have so many points that we need to cover that sometimes we maybe can forget, or maybe the account manager can forget to say to the client, hey, don't do that. that can be wrong. So this is a very good, that space that is needed, I think is awesome. And concerning the KPIs, all the key points that João told us, it's great. All the information will be there. Will be there. And I'm so sorry. In my mind comes, I'll be there. Like the song, you know? We are there. We will be there. And in the future. So excellent points. And so we're going to start the second round of questions. We're going to have only 30 minutes to finish. Maybe we're going to rush and I'm going to shut my mouth more. But everything I do is trying to give you more, not the persons that are with me, but you that are attending us, giving you more tips and more information to have a better and better operation and manage your hotel. So we're going to start, please. Till now, I have just one question, guys. So if you want questions, you need to write it down. If you don't write it down, but we are doing a lot of questions inside, doesn't matter. So we move to the second round of questions. Paula, Carreirão, it's all to you. Neil, don't be angry, huh? You're too serious, man.
Well, next question actually goes to Neil. So, Neil James, at ReviewPro. So, good timing. Many hotels, Neil, are investing in hotel tech now, as we're seeing this trend. And it's an ocean of possibilities out there, as we all know. And one concern I think the hotel technology the hoteliers express is regarding integrations. It is a key point. So why, Neil, if you could explain to the audience, why are integrations an important part of AI technology solutions? And I'm going to read it again just so everybody understands. So why are integrations an important part of AI technology solutions?
Great, thanks, Paula. So I think, the key thing here is how can we help the hoteliers to customize the experience for their particular brand, right? And, Scott was mentioning earlier about the multiple technologies that they've had to adopt across the various brands they're using. And in today's world, we as technology providers need to make sure that we can integrate as much as possible to make sure that we can be part of that guest journey and help other technologies integrate so that at the end of the day, which is why we're all here, the guest experience is better and the hotels can drive revenue, as you mentioned, Paula, because of that, right? If you think of from the chatbot solutions, etc., João mentioned earlier about internet booking engine, but there's you've got the ticketing systems, dining apps, online check-in, CRM, etc. All of these are key pieces that the solutions need to be integrated with. And in today's day and age, flexibility is so important, right? So we need to make sure that not only are they integrated, but there is a quick, seamless, simple implementation process, and that there's good onboarding for those, that this training of the staff is easy. I just think about what Scott mentioned earlier and having to train your teams across 4 messaging systems, right? And understanding the intricacies of each one and what needs to happen. That's a challenge, and we need to try and make sure that those systems can integrate and can go into one particular system. And I think, as I mentioned earlier, it's key. The most important thing here is always a seamless experience for the guest, right? And irrelevant of the technology that we're using, and ensuring that the guest is at the center of everything that's being done. And if we do that, and if we have these integrations, we have the ability to remove a lot of the mundane tasks from our teams. Guests will be looking forward to staying at hotels again and pampering themselves, and we need to make that easy, right? These guests have waited a long, long time to be able to start traveling again. And we have to think about the fact that because they've been waiting for a long time and they've been waiting for that time to be able to stay at a hotel, their expectations are going to be higher. Their emotions are going to be higher. And therefore, we need to be at our best. And we need to make sure our technologies are ready to be able to integrate together to make the guests feel like they're looked after at each part of that particular journey, right? And we have to think that times have changed, right? There's one good thing for the hospitality industry, as Nicolas mentioned earlier, is that finally we've been pushed to adopt technology that much quicker, not just because of COVID, but because we've had the time to be able to sit down and think strategically rather than just pushing for the revenue and the occupancy, right? So now we can sit down and understand that journey. So we need to make sure that we can increase these integrations, remove barriers. And like for me, when I say remove barriers, I mean, let's get rid of the reception desk. Let's have those people out speaking face to face, guiding people, having a great relationship, helping them to go somewhere because they've already checked in before they've got to the hotel. Or if they still want to check in, then maybe that's an additional service that they can take because they still want the human interaction, right? But these integrations to the various systems need to really help to get it done. And, you know, I think Vinny mentioned earlier about Expedia. You know, we have that one of the big things during the analysis that we were doing of the market was that when we were speaking to clients, they were telling us that a lot of the messages that they receive from Expedia and Booking.com from guests that are either about to book or have booked go unanswered. More than 50% of those messages go unanswered. So guests are making a booking, making a request, and that message is not being responded to. And what's happening many times is that guest is saying, okay, you're not answering me. I haven't got that question answered. I'm going to go over to another property where I can get that question answered. So we need to make sure that we can pull all of these integrations together, put them into a platform where it makes it really easy for hoteliers to deal with that information, respond to those guests, and enable the guest to come in feeling confident, knowing what the policies are, knowing what to do with regards to check-in, and understanding if restaurants are open, closed, and what the current scenario is around that hotel, right? And all of these various technology integrations will enable them to make sure that there is a seamless journey and the guest is well informed right the way throughout that process.
Awesome, Neil. Thank you very much. Somebody else would like to make a point here? Now I have an airplane. It's traveling. Brazil's moving. Brazil's still moving.
I think, Neil, you made a great, you nail it when you said, like, you actually scared me at first, I have to say, when you said there's no need for reception anymore. And I was like, oh, but then I understood what you mean. And I completely agree. I think you have to relocate human resources, which is the most expensive thing you have, to what add values to your property. So yeah, I think that's the point, I think, from taking from here. Yep. Okay.
Absolutely. And I think integrations will be key as well. I mean, when you talk about having different platforms and things that they're using, I know a lot of the times when you get to the front desk, they have like 4 different browsers open, right? Because there's, you know, again, all these different technologies. So even between the software that they use to do different things, right? Everybody can't be, there's not a one solution out there for the entire way to operate your entire hotel. So I think it'll even be key to have integrations between some of these software companies to help them so they can bounce from one place to the other. Because when you have sometimes, you know, if you have to go from taking, I guess, you know, information from here and then putting it into a second system, right? I mean, that's where you start to have errors, things get missed, and ultimately you end up losing guests at that point.
I was in a webinar, sorry, just I was in a webinar once, and someone said one thing that really, I think it's really right. Like, innovation is not innovation if you don't have integration, because otherwise it's just a bit messy. So I think the pandemic also brought the community together, and I don't know, I think you all agree, but we all are more willing, the companies, to work together and integrate our tools as well to help the hotels at the end.
Yeah. I would say that this new generation of solutions are more open. This is important too, because there are the old-fashioned companies that sometimes are difficult to work on. I don't know exactly your experience, but are always difficult to work with all these big fishes, and like they delay a lot of the process. Which doesn't make any sense, because somehow typically the problem in terms of integrations from the companies, like having the chatbot or the survey company or wherever is the company to call and to get the data from the PMS, not the rest, or not the opposite, and is always a fun part of this kind of conversation.
That is called lobby. You have a lobby and a lot of that is called lobby. People that, but the persons that do lobby, they will die. We cannot keep doing lobby. That's worth changing, and it's changing really fast.
Nail is just lousy because probably you already had a lot of experience with that in the past, right? I believe the experience also comes with this kind of experience.
Or for example, hey, I did integration. You need to wait like 1 year. What? But I have like 200 clients. 1 year. It's like, okay, you're going to offer to my clients another PMS. Just an example. So if anybody else want to put something, then Paula goes to the second question. Anybody else want to say something, Nicolas? You? No? Okay, let's go forward. Thank you.
So next question is to Nicolas, actually, from check-in. So Nicolas, the question is, DI technology and guest communication only work if the guest data are correct, right? Is the hospitality sector ready to work seamless based on data sharing between the different actors? So I'm gonna just read it again. The AI technology and guest communication could only work if the guest data are exact. Is the hospitality sector ready to work seamless based on data sharing between the different actors?
So thanks, Paula. Yes, thanks. And it's going back a little bit on what we just shared. So that's why I didn't want it to engage also. But like just to give you a use case. So when the guest is doing a booking on whatever OTAs, the first interaction that the hotel will do with that guest is based on the information that the OTA send, or if it's a direct booking that the guest is giving to the property, so the email or the phone number, and sometimes that information is incorrect or not complete. So for us, for example, as we need that information to start engaging with those guests, it's very difficult for us to be relying on other people's information that sometimes, they give you like an email that is not a real email. I'm not going to give name, but sometimes the email is not even the guest email. So I think that I'm not sure if the hospitality industry is ready for that, because you have old companies that have like old API structures that are like very difficult and not flexible. And you have those new companies with those new API with like very flexible, can do everything and can adapt very, very easily. So the thing is, I'm seeing the challenge is the data exchange between all those actors. So those AI tools can work seamlessly and provide the most accurate action. Also because we see that the guest data will now have multiple origin. It's not only the channel manager or the OTA or the PMS. Now you have the chatbot, you have the online check-in, you have multiple people that are interacting and multiple origin. And those data are very important to better segment the guest and better adapt the communication presenting to the guest with highly relevant message or offer or service at the right time. This is, I think, key, and that's going to be a challenge in my point of view. Also, the AI can only work if they are able to analyze and understand the past action in order to really adapt for future action. So that's something that I see as something that we need to all work on to improve. And I think also that the guest personalization is one of the most important challenges of hotel today, because they need to understand who are those guests, who are they, so they can better interact with them, they can better answer their expectation, get a better satisfaction, loyalty, and become like an ambassador for their brand. Like I'm sure, Scott, like if your customers go out with a nice experience, they will talk to their friend, and this is your best, almost your best ambassador for you guys. So yeah, I think that what I kind of agree with what Neil was saying, but the thing is that the technology will always be a kind of delay from what we want to do. That's going to be like a kind of a little blocker.
What we call concerning the data, for example, and the PMSs, is a receptionist disease, calls Afghanistan, because the first country that appears all over the world. Normally, if they don't use your platform for check-in or others in the market, what means reception is, who is this guy in the country? Afghanistan. So then you have an inform after 3 months. Let me check what happened the last 3 months. Oh, shift. I tell shift. So I have like 80% of my customers are from Afghanistan. No, they're not. That is the receptionist disease that we call Afghanistan.
But you know what, Vinicius, one thing that I think Nicolas mentioned in his first question was that the same, we have to educate the guests as well, as not only the hoteliers. And why I'm saying this, because when I used to work in hotels, which was like 7-8 years ago, we already have web check-in, and no one, 0% used that thing. And then they would come to the front desk and would be angry to be in line. It's like, why, because they didn't know there was, I think it's a responsibility of the hotels as well, not only hotel tech companies, but as well hotels to educate. And I think Nicolas was saying about that.
For example, if you have a guest, if they want to pass through the receptionist, normally what receptionist does, what the management do with receptionists. Hey, look, I have TripAdvisor, have booking, 9, 8 point. The guests don't care about your awards. They really don't care. If you want to put your awards, do it in different places in your hotel. The guests will have the time to read it. If you have, I don't know, you have a space for leisure and to go to the swimming pool, and you have some kind of, I don't know, where they walk down, you can put it in the walls. Then people can, I'm waiting my wife, what do you have here? Oh, look, all the awards they have. When a guest goes to your hotel, in the reception, I just want to make my check-in as fast as I can, or I have a meeting, or I have a leisure thing to do. So, I'm sure that Nicolas and all the others, you can have a QR code. Make the guy look to the QR code. They already received that. But hey, you don't want, receptions needs to, and Neil will have a tip on this because he's have huge knowledge, more than myself. But for example, in my opinion, put there your QR code or put some stamps where, I don't want to make the queue. Great. Here, read the QR code, do it, you have it, and then you go to your room and that's it. But we need to use reception to communicate what we can sell to the guests, how make easier the experience and make the check-in and the check-out easier. That is our responsibility at reception. If we have thousands of rewards, the guy that already booked you, they don't care. They wants to look how fast I can check in, how fast I can get my I don't know the number is
they would even be more exigent. They would even be more exigent with you because as they see all those rewards, they were like, so why I'm not like treated like all those guys that give you reward?
Correctly.
But I think as well, we have to think about the fact that right now, as I mentioned earlier, we're in a unique situation, which is a lot of our guests are going to be coming from the local markets, right? And that means that they're going to come to our own website, which means that the booking experience is managed by our booking engine. We have the opportunity to collect the right data for those particular guests. We can then get them to check in online using messaging channels, SMS, WhatsApp that people look to, and I agree with Paula. I think, it's up to us to educate the market. Who turns up to a hotel and says, oh, great, I have to queue up to check in? Nobody, right? So let's educate the bloody market.
Nobody,
and, help our guests understand that technology is there to be able to help. And again, for those that don't want to use it, you can say, no, thanks, I don't want to click online. And we know that you're going to come to the reception desk and we can staff accordingly, right? But there is a huge opportunity.
Do you agree if we have a guest waiting half an hour to have to get the keys for the room? What that means? I'm going to tell them. That is a bad, tell you. tell you as a COO what that means.
Yeah.
Is it bad? What?
Well, absolutely.
It's a bad review.
I think what
lose.
it does, yeah, I mean, what you're saying here, right, is that you can solve that problem for all the guests that want to go there, and then it would allow the guests to spend more time with the people that actually want that experience, right? There's still a few out there that want that experience, but the majority don't, right? And so if you can get them through the process, then it allows that front desk, again, to focus more on the people that do need that times, and so you can get more specific with those customers that do need that more hands-on attention.
And myself and Neil, we are getting.
And the only other thing I'll add to that as well is, especially during the COVID environment right now, I mean, there's a lot of people as we're operating that want this experience, right? That maybe typically wouldn't have wanted this experience, but do now. To say, hey, listen, I don't want to be near you for 15 minutes while you're checking me in. I don't want to stand, right in behind this guy for this whole time that's in front of me. And so I think, right now is really the time to get people into that experience, into some of the brands are doing it really well. Some aren't, I won't name names, but some are doing it really well, and you just get people through. And again, those people that do want to have that experience can come through, but now is really the opportunity where the majority of people want to just get to their room, get in there, and have as little contact with people as possible, because of COVID.
And this will become a competitive advantage as well for the hoteliers that are implementing it, right?
Absolutely.
Because those guests that really want it and don't want to be touching other guests, if they know that technology is available, then they're likely to book that hotel. But if they read reviews online and people are saying, I had to queue up just like I had to do a year ago, then it's unlikely that they're going to be able to attract those guests to the hotels.
Exactly.
This technology is here to
Not
stay.
only that, I think that our market as a traveling, hoteliers and traveling, we need to understand I'm getting old. Neil is getting old because I'm not getting old myself. You're my friend. I get that old. Maybe for the others I can't, but with you I can do it. So we need to think of millennials, and you need to think the new generations. Millennials already have between 23 till 33, 30, 35, 37 years old. They're millennials. We need to understand psychologically how are the market changing and will change in the next 5 years in so many ways that anybody here can imagine, but I'm sure nobody has the answer. So psychologically, thinking on your guests is really, really important. A person between 50 to 70 is different from a person between 35 to 50, and it's different for those go under 35. So it's something revenue managers, marketing team, salespeople needs to include. Revenue managers in the beginnings of 2000 used to be the guy that managed the range and how I can make money and how I can up or go down I'm sorry, my English here. It's my price. Sorry.
And Vinicius, adding to that, we also need to take in consideration that the old population that before were not even able to use internet, now they're entering with people that are able to use internet. Absolutely. And like you, old man Vinicius, you have
I'm like 60 years old now. Okay, sorry, I'm out. I'm going. Ciao, thanks, Nicolas. You're awesome, man. Thank you very much.
Because those are people that like millennium are like young people, but they maybe don't have the same power of purchase. But those guys that I mean, my mom is able to do an online check-in, but
he's an influencer.
My own mother and grandparents.
The guy that makes my mom or my grandpa or my grandmom buy it is influencers. This is for the digital marketing companies that till today I never found anyone that knows how to work with hotels. And I do things that I don't put right now here that people tell us I'm crazy. But I'm crazy, but I give results in 3 months, they already goes up in 15 to 20% on sales. That is my company does, not Travel Tech. My other company does. We are a consultancy, make hotels, make a lot of money on the strategy and segments. That is something most of the market, nobody does. So let's go. We have 2 questions more, and we have 17 minutes to finish the session, and I need to go to the pitching session. So let's go to Scott Curran. Hey, Scott. I'm sorry. Hello again. So, Scott Curran, COO of Reneson Hotels LA. Welcome again. So, the question for you is, I'm going to repeat this 2 times for the public. What hotel departments do you think will be the most affected by AI use in the future? What hotel departments do you think will be the most affected AI in the future? And I want to add something. Do you think that'll go positive or negative based on your response? There's a second question I just propose you to answer. Thank you.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, I'll start with the second one. I mean, I think this is all positive, right? I mean, I think it all goes, all of this will help guests, it will help the employees, it will help everybody along the way, right? It's just, how do you adapt it the right way? And I think that in times, maybe there were some products that, I'll just use my own experience, that maybe weren't quite ready for market, that we used, that the employees, became standoffish with, before they even, it just didn't work the right way. So it made their jobs harder, right? So I think it's going to be important that as we move forward, we choose the right products, right? The right ones that are going to make the guest experience better, that are going to make, their jobs easier, so that they buy into it. Really, you can't use any of these products if the hotel staff does not buy into it. It just won't work. You'll be paying for something that will never get used, and it just does no good. And so, I think that there's some amazing things out there. I mean, it's just amazing talking to the 3 other panelists here, hearing what's being created, and I'm excited for that. I'm excited to be, a part of that. And I think, for me, I think the operational aspects are a really big part of that, right? I think that a lot of times hotels, as we, over the last several years, we've purchased hotels and come in, and they all have the same things going on, right? There's a book at the front desk where they're writing things in the book at the front desk. There's a schedule in the back office where they're printing it out on a piece of paper and putting it on the wall, right? And all these things that, our industry is so, yeah, exactly. Walkie-talkies, so far behind, and they're a little hesitant to get rid of some of those things. But, when they see, a true platform that can really work and help them and digitalize it and communicate in that way, I think we just have to work through all these things, like have been mentioned here, the API access, right? Getting certain softwares to talk to each other, right? Because you're not going to be able to do everything with one piece. And so, them not having to bounce from a PMS system to a text messaging system to a, somewhere else along the line, getting it all into one place will be really key for them, and making their experience easier. And that will get the information to managers, on general managers, the district managers, to vice presidents and things, so that they can, really take that data and understand what's happening at the hotel. I mean, since we've switched to digitalize, we took all that paper away. Our thing at Reneson is no more paper, right? You can't have paper on the wall. You can't write anything down. You can't use the walkie-talkie anymore. Our scores have gone through the roof, right? They just have risen over the last year and a half to levels that I never thought that they could be at. And it's truly because we're just not missing things, right? We're getting to the guests where they want to be. We're communicating with them in the right way. And so I think that that's going to be, I'm interested to see how, AI will continue to help hotels operate. And then, on the other side is, the revenue management side. As I mentioned earlier, I think right now it's getting better and better as we go. Hilton was one of the original ones that we had a property that used something back 6-7 years ago, but now they're getting to a point. I think I just even saw an email today where they're switching to more of a model where you give it a floor and a ceiling, right? You say, go between 100 and 300, right? And let it do its thing. And so where you still needed that person to really kind of control everything, I think it's getting smarter to understand where these rates should be positioned. And now you're not kind of pigeonholed into a spot where you have to say, okay, rates should be here. We have a real interesting property in Napa, California here, that its rates during the week are somewhere in the $100 to $150 range. On the weekends, they're $500 to $600. So trying to set a range of rates that goes from $100 to $600 in 1 week is a really difficult process. And so, the systems never really work for that. And so, we were one of the last hotels to be brought on because the system just couldn't figure it out. Well, now it's, you just set it 100 and 600 and the system starts to know where it's going. And so it's made our, where at the beginning, maybe our jobs were harder because of some of the systems. Now we're moving into an easier part. And so, it's really exciting to see where AI is really affecting our ability to manage hotels.
Awesome, Scott.
I think there's an interesting.
Go ahead, Neil. You have 2 minutes.
I was just going to say.
Sorry to cut you off, but 2 minutes, please. If
I was just going to say, I think
because it's my fault. I know it's my fault. Don't be angry.
I was just going to say, I think it's an interesting point that at the end of the day, it's like it can impact all of the departments, right? And I think for any hotelier that's looking for technology, there's two key things that you need to be able to make sure that you get in when you're working with a technology partner. That's first, onboarding, that your team are going to get the training that they need, that you can involve all of the departments so that everybody knows what's going to happen and how it's going to help them and the guest. And then secondly, KPIs, right? How can we identify, exactly as you said, Scott, that this is helping us? Our indexes are going through the roof. The guest is getting a better experience because of it. And now we can increase our rates. And how do those KPIs impact each of the members of those teams within the hotel, right? And how do they get benefits from that? And I think if as all technology providers across the globe, we can help hoteliers to get the hoteliers to really buy into the technology, we can really help the industry and change the way that guests have experience moving forward.
Absolutely. I mean, I think, when we look at it from some of those housekeeping and maintenance departments, we have employees that have been there for 20 years and have been doing things one way for 20 years, right? So some of this is really difficult. And I don't want to move myself into the old category here, but I remember when, we used to do reservations by putting slips in, like we would write it out, you'd go by name and get a file folder and all this stuff. And, we introduced computers, way back when, and people were standoffish to that, right? Why would I want to do that? I could just stick it in this box over here, right? And now you think about that and you're going, I mean, polar opposites, right? To where that is. And so I think, people will adapt. I think it's just important to remember that, you need to get it to them in a way that they can understand how it benefits them, right? And that data that you'll be able to pull will ultimately, help you make better decisions on a management level, but it doesn't work if you don't get it from the lower end.
Thank you very much, Scott. We have the last question that will be handling by Paula. After that, we have a question. However, because I will finish after this question, we have a question that was before João answered, is requesting me, what do you think is the best to do, have more direct bookings? For that, we're gonna cover that on Friday. On Friday, we're gonna have vertical booking, Amadeus, Yield Planet. So we're gonna have the biggest players on the world concerning direct bookings, and we're gonna cover that on Friday. I can cover that question, but it will take like 15 minutes, and we don't have time anymore. I'm so sorry, but don't worry. Keep connected, and remember, for everybody that's connected now, you to get the international certification of travel tech, because this is a masterclass, 2 hours per session, but it's a masterclass. You have the opportunity to have Nicolas Chavanes, head global sales, the biggest web check-in. You have the review, the biggest system, the COO. You have one of the biggest chains on California, on America. You have one of the biggest one all over the world, João Freitas. You have one of the biggest one, Asksuite for Paula Carreirão. So here you have the biggest persons on the market to give you answers. However, this answer we're going to answer on Friday. If not, it will take too much time, and I have the pitch sessions, and I will prefer to invite everybody for the pitch session that will happen 14:25 p.m. New York and 11:25. We're going to start today also our pitching sessions. Paula, Carreirão, and João Freitas, I'm so sorry. It's on you. I'm sorry to interrupt, but it's part of my job here.
No worries. Okay, so our final question goes to João, as Vinicius mentioned, from Hijiffy. Okay, we are talking about AI from all this time, João. So I guess it's up to you to convince. It's like the show, TV show. Why should the hotel industry use AI to provide an outstanding customer experience? So I'm just going to repeat it again. Why should the hotel industry use AI to provide an outstanding customer experience? So please go.
Well, I would say that all of us already replied to this question. I would say that the key point here is to make sure that we use automatization and AI, but always take into consideration that hospitality is all about human touch. I would say that this would be the sum up of all our conversation. I can do it in just 1 minute, but much more than that, I would say like use software that is just not software. So basically, use companies that actually can give you an account executive or a customer success, or whatever is the name, because it depends a lot on the company, right? The customer success or the account executive that can follow you and make the journey as you believe that makes sense. And of course, that have somehow knowledge for doing it. Because I tend to say that AI companies exist in all around the world that are super big companies, bigger than ours, but they are not specialized within the hospitality sector. So at the end of the day, you need to do everything from the scratch. And I tend to say that I believe that all of us here already have some knowledge in terms of companies to help you with that, and to make sure that it's not just about automatizing things and taking out people. Like all of us don't believe on that. So I would say that to provide a really outstanding customer experience, what we need to do is just to make sure that we make a good mix between personal touch and automatization in all the different softwares that exist. From, again, the chatbots that, of course, all of us kind of already have some knowledge, from the survey solutions, for the check-in solutions, to the checkout, to the upselling, the cross-selling, well, the CRMs. There are a lot of solutions available in the market. And I would say that the most important part is to make sure that, well, first, there are a really good mix, and the second, you can work together, meaning, as Neil was mentioning, all the integrations in place. So please try to see and take a look literally to the newcomers, because I would say that this new generation will change a little bit these problems of the lobbying, as Vinicius was saying. So try to really make an analysis about how can you be blocked for the softwares that you are using. That is, for me, the most important part. Like, really take a look. What was amazing 20 years ago is not amazing anymore. Like, we were talking about the phones in the beginning, and I was saying, like, I never saw a phone ringing, and Neil was saying that saw a lot of times. Like, for me, it was the first time, because I'm from the millennial generation, okay? It's quite clear, okay? Just to make it clear, I'm the millennial generation. And actually, it's from the bottom, okay? Not
I'm the X generation. I'm old. I'm getting old.
But well, I would say that would be fundamental. So making sure that you follow and talk with a lot of partners. And as Vinicius was saying, I would say that the really good thing about, and to sum up all this, to sum up this conversation, is that all of us are somehow friends, competitors, wherever is the word. Of course, probably use Hijiffy or Asksuite or ReviewPro or any other company. Probably you'll not use all of us at the same time. It's not common. I already faced it, but it's not common. But the good or the important thing is to understand who is the best company to do that specific thing that you like and is open to help you. That is, for me, the most important part. Don't follow just the trends or of selecting a software and you don't know how to use it and you don't have the treatment that you need. I'll say that is the most important part.
Don't make what your friend hotelier does. Don't
Exactly.
do what both hoteliers does. If my friend or the market is doing this, I go and do it as well. No. Search travel text for this. You have the best companies. You have the best hoteliers, as Scott, because I'm all taking company Scott in some way is gonna kill me. don't get angry. So profit travel tech and profit the entire year. Profit the last year what we did. What it did was amazing. And not myself. I did that with my team and with New James, Nicolas, Paula, Hijiffy, and everybody that meet us last year and still this year. So enjoy. You don't have, it's a place that you get knowledge for free. You have a master class that will pay between $3,000 to $6,000 if you have a master class like this of 5 days. Here you have for free. And you have all the tech companies on their website. And even you're going to have a 3D stand after this. So before we finish, I would like to thank you, all our sponsors, ReviewPro, Hijiffy, Asksuite, the Hotel Networks, RM Academy, Evermax, Amelia, Libra, Eve Planet, Bucholai Now, Hub Builden, and HS London. I told you, it's too many. I lose one. Virtua One, that is the one that is providing us the 3D platform to do the fair online. First of all, I will finish here, and then I give you 1 minute each of you. Of course, starting by Paula. She's the lady.
Oh.
I'm the lady. No, I'm not the lady. Yeah, we don't ever know, huh? I'm just joking, man. We need to joke, right?
You are a gentleman, Vinicius.
Just to be very, very clear, this is a serious travel tech, but I think humor needs to be beside of this. If we are to only be eclectical, it's going to be like egos. Puchina. Here, anybody that comes here use their ego. They know here they have a clue, as myself, but a clue that knows a lot of. And we have only the best specialists all over the world here. So thank you very much for all the attendance. Thank you very much, Paula Carreirão from Asksuite. Thank you, Scott. Thank you so much to be here. I expect you can participate on the others that we're going to have, or during this year or next year. We count with your that you join us. Neil James from ReviewPro, our personal friend. You owe me a basketball match game. As rugby, we cannot play anymore because we're old and we get. Well, we're gonna have too much. I forget the name in English. Doesn't matter, but it's okay. Rugby just broke you up. I have more than 32 bones broke in my body. So I'll wait 43 years old if I start right now after 5 years of training. It's impossible. Thank you, Neil. Nicolas Chavanes. Thank you. Merci beaucoup pour être avec nous ici pour faire toutes les expositions en anglais. Merci. João Freitas, thank you very much to be here. I'm in love that we have this great panel, and I'm so sorry about the technical issues we had yesterday. We turned around in less than 24 hours. That is a tech company does. Give results and fix issues. So I give the word to Paula, and then Paula gives to the other person, and the other person gives to the other. And we finish the group. Paula, up to you. Kisses, everybody. Okay. Thank you. We have the pitch-in. And 45 minutes, we're going to have the pitch-in for 6 different companies. I need to tell that. Give me 1 second. That is too much. I cannot have that in mind. So 1 second, please. Don't be nobody angry with me. Nobody. 1 second, please. It's too many. It's too many persons, man. It's too many. It's really too many. It's too many companies, too many speakers. Just give me 1 second. I just need to have the list here with me. Just 1 second, please. So it's gonna be. Sorry about that again, guys. I'm so sorry, lady. Sorry. So today we're gonna have Libra, RMS, Zucchetti Group, one of the most important RMS, and the first one in the world that used in the EI technology to have the fly inside of the revenue management system. Then we're going to have RM Academy. We're going to have You'll Plan It Today, Out Inside, Check-In, and Book Assist. So don't lose it. We're going to start at 14:25 New York, 11:25 LA. Don't lose the pitch. It's going to be live through YouTube and LinkedIn. Thank you. Paula, up to you.
Okay, well, thank you. I'm just going to say thank you so much, Vinicius, Federico, and the entire Travel Tech team for inviting me today. It was really a pleasure. I had a lot of fun, and I learned a lot of things too. So thank you so much for moderating this panel. And feel free to contact me on LinkedIn. I'm always up to a good chat. I know my last name is difficult, but you just can see somewhere in the post on Travel Tech and you find me. So thank you. And I guess the next one is Neil James, I think.
Thank you, Paula. I'm going to pass the word to Neil James. But before something that we have so many technological stuff to communication for hotels and for travel. So if you want to contact anybody on this masterclass, you go to traveltech.space. On the bottom of the website, you're going to see the grid. For each day, we have each participant, and we have the link for their LinkedIn and for their website company. Also for the speakers. So if you want to get in touch, add those persons on LinkedIn, go to traveltech.space. On the bottom, you're going to see the grid for every day, and you have all the contact details directly in one click. Neil?
Thank you, Vinny. So thank you to the Travel Tech team for setting up this great session again. It's fantastic and amazing that it's going to be happening across all the continents around the year. So thank you. Thank you personally, Vinny. Thank you, Paula, for being a great moderator as well. Pleasure to meet you. And thank you to my co-panelists, Nicolas, Scott, João. Really interesting to be on the discussion with you and really enjoyed it. So thank you to everybody. And of course, the listeners around the globe. Hope you all learned something from it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Neil. Scott, your turn, my friend. Go ahead.
Well, thank you so much for having me, and thank you to Travel Tech and all my co-panelists here. This was a great conversation. You know, I know it's been an unbelievable difficult time for everybody in our industry over the last year, and so I'm more than willing to help. I know my contact information will be out there. Please reach out to me. I'm happy to answer any questions, anything I can do to help hotels at this point. Like I said, I started from waiting tables all the way up, and it's really important to me to give back as much as possible. So don't feel shy to reach out. Please reach out to me at any time, and look forward to doing this again soon.
Thank you so much, Scott. João Freitas, Head of Global Sales and Business Development on Hijiffy. Go ahead, friend.
Thank you so much. By the way, we need to improve all our names, right? Like João, Carreirão.
It's quite difficult.
It's always difficult.
Scott's not too tough.
No, Scott, it's super easy for everyone. Well, thank you so much for the amazing conversation. Outside that, we did an amazing job because we were all discussing for the same in the same way, meaning that all of us think a little bit different, of course. But it was a really good conversation, and I believe that was helpful for all the hoteliers that can watch us. And outside that, for every person that will enter in Hijiffy, we can share as Neil is doing in ReviewPro with our new colleagues, because somehow they can learn everything from what we talked. And I would say that I couldn't find other people with me that could take the same conversation. So I would say that we went super well. So thank you all, and it was a pleasure.
Welcome, João. Nicolas Chavanes, Head of Sales, Global Development and Global Partnerships for check-in with more than 72 countries in only 3 years, and Nicolas, the head of it. I'm really happy to be your friend. You're great, man. What to do in 3 years?
Thank you, guys. What else we can add? I mean, thank you, Travel Tech. Continue that way, because I think it's really great what you're doing, like putting different people together, providing so much insight to hoteliers. So keep that way, and if you need anything from me, I will be always around. Same for the people around that have been listening to us. I hope they have enjoyed and learn a lot. Will be always available for them if they want to reach out. And thanks for my co-panelist and Paula. You did a great job also today. So thanks for your time, and let's keep in touch.
So Nicolas, I'm gonna take your word. I'm gonna invite you to be an APAC like this. You need to wake up 2 o'clock in the morning to do this. I'm gonna take it, July. I count on you, man. Thank you, everybody. I love all of you. Thank you for all the knowledge we spread today. And this is recorded so everybody can double check after. And we're gonna do a lot of little insights in the next months about each event we do. So, but to get the certification, you need to register. You can see us on YouTube. If you want to register yourself to get a certification and follow up on masterclass, go to traveltech.space, register yourself. You still are in time to get your international certification and increase your CV with those biggest, awesome, outstanding persons that we have here. Kisses you all. Thank you. This is Travel Tech.
Thank you.
Bye. Cheers,
Bye-bye.
guys. Cheers.
Bye.
Bye bye.